got an intersection in the north that's we're focusing on, and we have a particular street in Dillon Vale that we're also kind of taking a look at, so do our best. That's all I have.
Okay, good question. Chief, EMS fire?
The new ambulance went in service midday Tuesday, and we're up to 32 runs with it so far. Getting good break-in.
Looks good.
It does look good. We're real happy with it. The other thing is that 3 of our firefighters responded with the task force to the Dayton tornado thing, and spent the day there helping Dayton with that tragedy. And then the last thing was last Wednesday I attended the memorial service at the FBI building for the reference to Memorial Day. And they had a remembrance of the 4 FBI agents that got killed in the plane crash in Montgomery, which I was a firefighter at the time, was there on that incident. So it was nice that they invited me to that. So that went really well. And then the monthly report, I just emailed it to you around 6 o'clock, so it's in your inbox.
Right.
And then tomorrow we'll have it on the website for anyone who needs to see it.
Okay.
That's all I got.
Questions? I just want to make a point. This weekend was the graduation at Cincinnati Hills Christian Academy, and I got a call from one of their staff saying that they had an exchange student that was graduating from Guatemala, and wanted to, her aunt, who was in town for the graduation, is also a firefighter in Guatemala. And so I called the chief. He set me up with Ivan to get a tour of our facility here, and it was amazing. She said that this was the height of her trip to America, that she got a chance to come over and see the firehouse. They were there for 2+ hours.
Yeah.
And she was amazed at the fact that we have nozzles on our hoses to reduce the spray into a more powerful spray, because they don't have them there.
All right.
So
It was over the end of the hose.
exactly like this. So I want to thank the chief, and I want to thank Ivan, send my thanks to Ivan as well for doing a great job with these folks, because she thought that was a height of her trip to America, which is pretty significant.
Good. Thank you.
Recreation report. Do we have anything in Mr. McEwen's absence?
I do not. Greg, do you
Greg?
have anything?
I don't have.
Maintenance report, Mr. Kellums.
Today, we had a pre-construct for the Kennedy sidewalk project that we are cooperating with City of Montgomery on. So June 10th is when that will start tree removal, June 17th construction, and they are looking to have the whole job completed by July 31st.
When did it start in July?
June 10th. Today I also had another meeting with the New England Court residents about our proposed building in the back. It went very well. They are going to get back with me. It's a committee that's going to report back to the board and to the other residents.
Okay.
But it went real well. Chief's ambulance went in Tuesday, I believe it was. The old ambulance came to maintenance, and we've already turned it into a truck for sidewalk and concrete repairs. We are utilizing everything.
Good.
Good luck with that.
Yeah, thanks. So also we have a truck and a crew member that's in Dayton, has been there all week. They're going to continue through next week. They just say it's unbelievable. Even though there is an army of trucks up there, they need more. It's so much devastation, widespread, that they're not even making the bank yet. It's really sad. Other than that, we had a trailer that was hit by a Princeton school bus up in High Point, parked on the side of the road. She just came barreling on through. So they do have insurance. I've talked to them. They are going to cover it. The trailer is totaled because the frame is bent, cannot be straightened. She was cited also. So the only other thing I have is a proposal from DJ Stone Company. This is Stone Company that worked over at the Bechtel Park for us. If you remember, and as you've seen, the walls at Kenwood Galbraith up here are in horrible shape. We've been waiting because of Duke and what was going on there. It's gotten to the point where we can't wait anymore, so we have about 267 lineal feet of that stone wall that needs to be totally torn down and replaced with new stone. And we have a price of $47,000 for that. So, and that is a TIF project, TIF eligible project. So if you would ask Mr. Miller to prepare a resolution for that so we can get started and get that repaired.
I'll make the motion to ask the law director to prepare a resolution for that work.
And I'll second that.
Motion and second, any further discussion? Mr. Porter?
Mr. Barber,
Aye.
Mr. Connor,
Aye.
Mr. Weedman.
Aye.
Unless you have any questions, that's all I have.
Okay, any questions? Mr. Miller, law director report.
Well, we've been busy, been a busy month. The reply briefs on the Duke pipeline case are due Monday, so we will be filing that, and we'll copy you on those. We also have the Moeller parking appeal that's in the common police court. There are a number of motions pending that we have been responding to. Some of them are ours. Those will be argued Tuesday morning in common pleas. Don't know when we'll get an answer. In the meantime, Moeller has filed a second application for the same property with different parameters on it. We have asked the court to make a determination as to whether that can go forward or not, given the fact that they already have one under appeal. And that's one of the things to be argued on Tuesday. So right now, that is set for June 17th to go forward unless the court tells us otherwise. So that's where we are on that. We also have had to file a motion for contempt on the Bayberry property with the hole in the front yard, so we are moving on that one also. And the judge has directed us to prepare an entry finding him in contempt, so.
How long has that been going on? How many years now?
No, it started last Halloween, it was
Yeah,
about,
Halloween.
was the time.
We
because-
started digging about probably a year ago, a little over a year ago.
Yeah.
The retention pond, this hole.
I mean, I don't remember when he went to the BZA, it was last summer, I think, sometime. Yeah. So, that's all.
Okay, questions? Administrator report, Mr. Bickford?
I say this every meeting, I'll say it again, we will never come door to door for electric or gas aggregation, getting a lot of reports of that again. If someone comes and tells you it's us, it is not, please pass that on to your neighbors. A lot of people are getting scammed with energy costs, so please pass that on. Our fiber project is slowly beginning to move forward. Hopefully this fall we'll have that project complete, which will provide public Wi-Fi in the parks.
Good.
Oh, and I have 2 appeals for your consideration.
Okay.
Forgot about that. This is for Hampton County Treasurer for property taxes, $11,861.94. And I have a blanket vendor for fire, travel, and training, which is a budgeted item for $7,000.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and second, any further discussion? Mr. Porter?
Mr. Barber,
Aye.
Mr. Connor,
Aye.
Mr. Weedman.
Aye. Anything else?
Go ahead.
Okay, questions? Mr. Holbert, planning and zoning?
Mine's a little bit off topic, but tomorrow is National Donut Day, and I will be taking advantage of it.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Speaking my language, Harry.
You'll be behind him in line.
Where do you want us to show up?
Graders has a deal where if you buy the donut, they'll give you a cup of coffee.
Oh, nice, very
If you
nice.
buy those, I just got
So
mine.
Graders isn't getting robbed tomorrow at all.
That is the safest place in the township.
Yep, absolutely.
That's all I have.
Communications, Mr. Porter.
None tonight.
Okay, there's no old business, new business, only case 2019-05P2. Do we have a motion?
I would like to make a motion to ask the law director to prepare a resolution approving the application, subject to the conditions that were, the 15 conditions that were indicated in Mr. Holman's presentation. I'll give you a copy of those, with the exception of condition 6, which is building exterior to be painted. All of the other 14 conditions is.
Beth will send me all the
Yeah.
stuff.
We have a motion, we have a second.
We have a
Motion and second, any further discussion?
Or not Beth, yes.
Any further discussion? Mr. Porter?
Mrs. LaBarbera?
Aye.
Mr. Connor?
Aye.
Mr. Weedman?
Aye. Next is zoning case 2019-07MA. Do we have a motion?
I would like to make a motion to ask the law director to prepare a resolution approving the application as submitted.
You have a second.
Motion and second, any further discussion? Mr. Porter?
Mrs. LaBarbera?
Aye.
Mr. Connor?
Aye.
Mr. Weedman?
Aye. Next is trustee comments.
I do have some. Dougie mentioned when I was against the festival. Doug, if you didn't pay attention, you knew I was against the massive expense that we put out for the festival. However, the three of us came to an agreement on cutting the budget for the acts, as Jenny mentioned earlier, and we all agreed on the acts. So that just wanted you to know that.
Okay.
And I know that you knocked me in connection with a bunch of other people here, but you're also with Mr. Weedman, is very close friends.
Hey,
We said we're gonna stay away from that
But you, but you
stuff,
also
guys.
started, so that's it.
I was gonna point out that
Okay, I wish you
you
would.
initially had said you wanted to pause the festival for a year, but you have voted for all of the apps
Thank you for
that are
clarifying
there.
that.
Okay,
And I have something nice I want to share. I was on the phone this morning with Jay Phillips, the fellow in charge at the Deer Park High School. Deer Park High School's Jay Phillips. Jay and I met in June 2018, and there was the letter from Capital Investments that went to Deer Park residents who live in Sycamore Township. And then that looked like a philanthropic gesture on the part of Greg Passaro and Capital Investments. I sat down, we had a cup of coffee, Jay Phillips and I, superintendent of the schools at Deer Park, and I pointed out to him, there was also the legal piece of paper that said TIF on it, TIF, and it was signed by Tracy Cummings' wife and members of the school board. And in that formal thing that they signed, a TIF was required, and then they would give them the money for the air conditioning. So, and I said to him at that time, I said, Jay, if I'm you, because of the circumstances, I would take that money up front, because you never know what's gonna happen with the TIF or with this development. I said, I agree with you, but I want you to know that I believe you should downsize, that they should downsize this project. However, in the event that it doesn't come to fruition where you get that money for the air conditioning, I will work with you somehow, and we'll come to some kind of an agreement. Somehow we'll try to find the money for the air conditioning. Billy Cunningham was here, one of the Deer Park groups at that meeting that night, and Willie and I talked afterwards. I said to Willie, if this thing doesn't happen, you and I can get together and we'll do something, we'll have some fundraising, we'll raise some money, we'll make sure they have air conditioning. And Willie just kind of smiled, and so it was kind of an agreement. Now, the other day, resolution 12619, urgent, necessary, that was passed at Deer Park, the 2019-20 school year, and Jay Phillips confirmed this, the superintendent of schools today, that they have secured the money for air conditioning for the project. They had money left over from the Amity school project, the elementary school, and that $900,000 is now going to air conditioning for the youngsters at Deer Park High School, and they will have that beginning the new school year. So I thought that was good news. I wanted to share that with you.
okay, thank Here, anything else? Anything else? Anything else?
Nothing.
Okay.
I have no comments.
Okay. I wanted to just visit the subject of TIF because at our last meeting, Mr. James said, and I quote, "TIFs are subsidies and incentives to developers enabling developers to build larger, denser developments than those which private financiers are willing to risk their money on." And so I guess we probably haven't done maybe as good of a job as we should as it relates to educating people on TIF and how significant TIF is to Sycamore Township. So I asked Greg Bickford to put together some data on that, so we could share that tonight. And I think it'll be an eye-opening experience for all of us, but especially for Mr. James, who thinks that it's just a giveaway and it doesn't benefit the township. So if Greg, would you gearing up, man?
I'm gonna object to the mischaracterization of my
Yeah, well,
remarks.
you can, so noted, so noted.
Yeah, I guess you wanna see what I've been working on.
Yeah. Great.
Hang on. Tom, you had asked me to put together some data on TIF, and quite frankly, it was eye-opening for all of us as we worked through it. You know, one thing I look at is, this is a pretty telling stat right here, that we have the lowest millage of the Hamilton County townships. I think minus Harrison, that has, they're not even, they're rural beyond rural. The last time township asked for a levy was in 2006. It was a 1 mil for fire protection. I think they had asked for more than that previously. You know, since 2006, the estate tax went away, and a whole bunch of other things that affected local governments came out. So tax increment finance, you know, in a nutshell, what it is you are taking the improved value of a property and you are capturing that revenue for some public purpose. So for example, if your property is worth $1,000 and you develop it and put it in tax increment financing district or parcel, there's two types of TIFs, the value that the property gains above 1,000 becomes captured, and those taxes get redirected into a specific fund. And they can be used for everything from economic development to infrastructure, public spaces, safety services, public buildings, et cetera, et cetera. What they cannot do is pay for salaries, benefits, day-to-day operation, supplies, or short-term items. And that's always been the case, and the law's been modified from here or there. This is a list of the current TIFs in Sycamore Township, and they're done by name. And so some of them may not make sense, but that's what they were called at the time. For example, there's one under Deer Park Community Schools called Marriott. That's Marriott Brighton Gardens, which is the retirement facility across from Jewish Hospital. Interestingly enough, Kenwood Mall is not the town center. It's Kenwood Square, Sycamore Plaza. Duke Towers, that's pretty self-explanatory. Sycamore Center is actually Trader Joe's and David's Bridal. Then obviously there's the Kenwood Town Center, which at the time was called Kenwood Shopping. Ohio Valley Orthopedics, that's the building at the corner of Montgomery and Kugler Mill. GSA Real Estate is the FBI. Greens of Kenwood, that is the Hampton Inn Hotel, and then Nyer's vacant property there. Kenwood City Place is Cooper's Hawk and whatever's in that plaza now. Quantum is Quantum Chemical. I think they're called Lyondell today. Chemical Deerfield is the office condominiums, and then the office building next to Kids First. Redstone is Redstone. Kenwood Crossing is actually Pine Road. And then Cornell, Snyder, Carrington, those are self-explanatory. So those are our current TIF projects. Several of them were created just to build a cash balance in public improvements down the road. Some were created for a project-specific purpose.
May I ask a question?
No, wait till I'm finished, please.
Through the statement, this 6 months.
The total revenue since 1994 is 200.5 million, and I've broken it down by TIFs. And obviously, the biggest TIF is the Kenwood Mall TIF, which is $109 million, which is the Kenwood Town Center. Now, it says Kenwood Mall, and there's 2 different names that were given to it. This is out of fund accounting. So here's all the TIFs and all the money that they have contributed over the years. Of that money brought in over the years, since 1994, Indian Hills Schools has received $68 million. Sycamore Community Schools has received $1.7 million. Princeton, $1.5 million. Deer Park, since 2001, $7.3 million. And finally, Cincinnati Schools since 2011, $2 million off of Redstone. So, since 1994, $200 million, $81 million to the schools, $119 million to the township. And that has gone on for various projects. And this is just a list, and I'm still going through this to find out how accounting was done long before I got here to make sure we've covered all of them. But you can see the list of projects that have been done with this. It's been $76 million in public investment, whether it's infrastructure improvements from traffic to road widenings to sidewalks to stormwater detention to public parking. It's been a myriad of things that have cropped up over the years. The biggest one on top is $18 million Montgomery Road. Back in 2000, or maybe even before I got here in 1999, ODOT said Montgomery Road is scheduled to be widened in 2020. And when the trustees at the time asked why, they said, we just don't have enough money. So at the time, they went into that TIF fund and they said, we have the money to help you widen the road. Otherwise, that road would probably still be on their program identification list. Some things we've done in public spaces: Schuler Athletic Complex, the community room, Bechtold Park shelters, the Bechtold Park parking expansion from 10 years ago. We built Station 93 out of TIF. We've put over $1 million of capital investments into our buildings. You hear us every time the chief wants some type of capital item that gets added to it. And then we've invested in economic development for future, which is property acquisition. So we've invested $7.2 million into that. We've done safety services. Every engine ladder that the chief has right now has been bought with TIF. We've bought all of our recent police vehicles with TIF. We've pumped over $750 million on other safety service capital. If you recall, Chief just bought the scuba certification. You name it, Chief bought it. So all told, we have almost $100 million of that has been invested into the public process. So just to put that in perspective, and I think this often gets lost, that if you look since 1994, that's $200 million that has been generated for